From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Hello and thank you for tuning in to TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, a weekend crime wave across our state, from a string of vandalisms in Seaford to bank robberies and drug busts. We have all the details on a very busy weekend for law enforcement across the state. It was also busy Sunday for the Millsboro Fire Department, the latest into the investigation of a house fire and how a car ended through a home. And the health insurance marketplace is expanding in Delaware. What that means for you and those in need of health insurance in 2023. These stories and more are coming up, but weather first with meteorologist Hunter Outen.
Hello and good Monday afternoon, Delmarva. I hope everyone enjoyed the nice, warm, and sunny weekend, because it's a little bit of a different story as we head into the afternoon hours today. Taking a live look outside of TV Delmarva Studios here in Georgetown. We have thunderstorms around the vicinity with that cold front that continues to advance eastward, and some very oppressive humidity out there as well. Currently 83 degrees here in Georgetown. Take a look at satellite and radar. You can see that cluster of thunderstorms continuing to advance eastward with that cold front. Now, some of these storms may produce a sporadic gusty wind, but definitely the biggest threat is going to be the heavy rainfall, which is all the moisture in the atmosphere that we have this afternoon. Now, the good news is once these thunderstorms move through the area, we're going to be decreasing those clouds, and we're going to be looking at a noticeably drop in that humidity going into Tuesday. Let's have a look at those conditions elsewhere on Delmarva this afternoon. We're definitely starting to see some cooler air filtering behind these areas of thunderstorms, but currently 85 right now in Salisbury, 83 for Pocomoke City, only 76 right now in Ocean City, 80 degrees for Easton, 80 as well for Dover, and you are in the mid-70s right now up north in Wilmington and Newark. We are seeing some very, very oppressive dew points out there. Pretty much widespread areas of low to mid 70s, but that will continue to drop once we get into the overnight hours tonight when that cold front moves through. We've been seeing some wind starting to pick up a little bit from the west for the most part, sustained about 7 to 14 miles per hour, but we have been seeing some wind gusts get near 20 miles per hour. Currently gusting to 21 right now in Georgetown, 17 for Salisbury, 19 for Ocean City, 16 for Pocomoke City, and a little bit less over towards the areas of Easton and Centerville at 9 miles per hour. Now we do have the chance for those thunderstorms over the next couple of hours, and we're going to be looking at a nice drop in humidity going into Tuesday, but that's going to be short-lived because we do have a nice big warm-up just in store for the upcoming holiday weekend. I have the details regarding that here in just a little bit.
Well, there are a lot of crime stories from over the weekend, even today, and we start with the latest news from Seaford Police, who are investigating several vandalisms involving pink spray paint that occurred overnight on Friday. In each of the cases, pink spray paint with vulgar language was used, and everything from cars to bridges were spray painted. Now, Seaford Police tells TV Delmarva News today that there were 11 complaints total of pink spray paint across areas of 3rd Street, Dover Electric, Peninsula Dry Cleaners, Magnolia Drive, and Nyland Boulevard. There were also complaints in the Blades area as well. As for whether the vandalisms were related to planned protests over the reversal of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court, to which Seaford Police issued an alert on Friday, we are told that it's unlikely due to the nature of the vandalism and that the protests were peaceful and officers assisted with providing a secure event. Seaford Police say the vandalisms are under investigation, and they are asking anyone with surveillance video that could help with the investigation by contacting them at 302-629-6645. Well, Dewey Beach Police arrested 2 men for drugs and weapon charges following a loitering complaint. Officers were called to the 100 block of Reed Avenue just before 10 p.m. on Saturday night. When they arrived and made contact with 21-year-old Shakai Sanders and 24-year-old Kaji Tiggs Reynolds, officers spotted a handgun in the driver door pocket and noticed a smell of marijuana from the vehicle. Both men were detained, and a search of the vehicle uncovered 2 handguns, magazines, 47 grams of marijuana, 3 scales, Ziploc bags, and other drug paraphernalia. Chandler and Tiggs Reynolds faces several drugs and weapons charges. Chandler was lodged at SEI on $15,000 secure bond. Tiggs Reynolds was also lodged at SEI on $7,500 secure bond. Well, a trespassing investigation leads to 2 people arrested on drug and theft charges in Lewis. Delaware State Police say 31-year-old Amber Kellner of Lewis and 30-year-old James Fisher of Georgetown were arrested after troopers were called to reports of someone living in a home without permission in the 33,000 block of Lotus Lane. When officers arrived, the 2 suspects were at the home with 3 juveniles, ages 11, 10, and 7. Troopers spotted several narcotics and drug paraphernalia right away, along with suspected stolen goods inside the home. A search of the home uncovered nearly 46 grams of meth, 79 prescription pills, 1.8 grams of marijuana, nearly 4 grams of psychedelic mushrooms, and 0.6 grams of suspected heroin. A stolen Wolf scooter and other stolen items were also recovered at the home. Kellner and Fisher faced several charges. You can see the full list at tvdelmarva.com. They were both arraigned and lodged at SEI on $89,600 cash bond. The 3 juveniles were turned over to their legal guardians. Well, it was a busy Sunday for Millsboro Fire crews who responded to a house fire and a vehicle crashing into the home. Look at these photos from Millsboro Fire. Now, crews along with several other area fire companies responded to the 30,000 block of Millsboro Highway just after 4:30 p.m. on a house fire. An initial report indicated a person was trapped in the home, but officials say everyone made it out. Crews were able to put the blaze out. However, the home is considered a total loss. The state's fire marshal's office is now investigating. Also in Millsboro, crews responded to a vehicle crashing into a home in the 1900 block of Sandstone Lane. Crews were able to stabilize the structure and remove a patient from the vehicle. There is no word on what caused the crash, although reports indicate that the vehicle backed up into the home and the condition of the victim is unknown at this time. Well, a Felton man faces several charges after allegedly threatening to kill a person with a handgun. Felton police say a female victim fled to their police department and reportedly told officers that 39-year-old Russell Rubley allegedly held a handgun to her head and threatened to shoot. Officers then arrived to the home in the 100 block of East Sewell Street and arrested Rubley without incident. Now, he faces several gun and related charges, including terroristic threatening and offensive touching. He was arraigned and lodged at SEI on $56,000 cash bond. He was also issued a no-contact order with the victim. On top of all that crime story, we do have a bank robbery to tell you about. Laurel police released surveillance photos of a suspect wanted in the bank robbery. The incident happened at the Bank of Delmarva on June 24th. Now, information is limited at this time, but we do have all the surveillance photos that were released, and anyone who may know the suspect is asked to contact Laurel Police at 302-875-2244 or Delaware Crime Stoppers at 800-TIP-3333. Well, after years of work to increase competition on the Delaware health insurance marketplace, Insurance Commissioner Trinidad Navarro announced today that 3 health carriers intend to offer plans for the 2023 plan year, the most in the state's history. Navarro made the announcement today, saying that from rising rates to insurer departures, the implementation of the Affordable Care Act in Delaware hasn't always been smooth sailing. But with the state's successful creation of a 1332 reinsurance program and federal threats of ending the critical program subsidizing, rates have decreased more than 15% and remain stable, while enrollment has grown significantly. The announcement comes as carriers submit initial rate filings proposals pursuant to federal deadlines. These will undergo in-depth review by independent actuaries before the insurance commissioner approves and announces them later this year. Well, it was a big night for TV Delmarva on Saturday. We are honored to receive the first place national award for Best Television Newscast by the National Federation for Press Women. This comes on the heels of our first place award at this year's Delaware Press Association Awards ceremony, Recognizing the best in publication and news across the state, it was a big night for the first state that garnered the most awards than any other state at the national level. A very cool accomplishment. We want to thank you, the viewers, for continuing to support local independent news, and of course we'll continue to update you as news progresses throughout the rest of the year and maybe additional awards along the way. Well, coming up, another Supreme Court ruling, this time on the First Amendment when it comes to prayer. The full story during our national news segment when we return. Stay tuned. Well, the Supreme Court has made another landmark ruling today, this time free speech and prayer during football games. The case involved a Washington high school football coach who prayed before and after games in the locker room and on the field, giving the option for players to join if they wanted to. In 2015, the Bremerton School District placed Coach Joseph Kennedy on leave after he was told to stop, but he kept on praying by himself at the middle of the field during every game. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court, where the court sided with Kennedy by a 6-3 vote. Now, Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote for the majority and said, quote, "The Constitution and the best of our traditions counsel mutual respect and tolerance, not censorship and suppression for religious and non-religious views alike," end quote. Dissenting justices wrote that the decision would, quote, "set us further down a perilous path in forcing states to entangle themselves with religion." Well, a cooler day today, but temperatures could crank up later in the week. Let's get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with meteorologist Hunter Alton.
Thunderstorms will continue to push across the shore for the rest of the afternoon as a cold front advances eastward. We will see slightly cooler temperatures for your Tuesday, but a noticeably big drop in that humidity. A more sustainable warm-up is in store for the rest of this week, with rain chances returning right around the 4th of July holiday. Now, will any of these storms cause any problems this evening? I'll let you know when we come back here on TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. Alrighty, Delmarva, let's get right into the pinpoint forecast for the overnight hours into the day on Tuesday. As we're patiently awaiting that cold front to move through the area for the rest of this afternoon and evening, we're going to be looking at some thunderstorm chances. But for the heart of the overnight hours, we're going to be looking at some showers and thunderstorms ending early, and we're going to be eventually gradually clearing things out, especially after midnight, and those temperatures will be cooling down as well. Overnight lows of 62 to 66 degrees with some light winds now switching from the northwest at about 5 miles per hour. Now we do have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere for the rest of this afternoon. Take a look at the latest precipitable water forecast. Usually anything over 2 inches is considered tropical moisture, and we're seeing tons of it out there. Even some values getting up to 2.27 here in Georgetown. So a lot of these thunderstorms this afternoon and evening are going to be having a lot of rainfall with it, so we could be looking at some sporadic flooding concerns throughout the rest of the evening hours as this cold front continues to move across the area. Take a look at Futurecast. Rest of the overnight hours into the day on Tuesday, 8 o'clock this evening. We should see the bulk of the precipitation across the areas of central Delmarva move out of the areas. Temperatures falling into the mid-70s. We still got some thunderstorm activity for the Virginia counties by this point, but that cold front will continue to move just offshore, and just after midnight we're going to be looking at some areas of clearing and temperatures upper 60s to lower 70s. Going into tomorrow morning, heading out the door, we're going to be looking at some nice conditions. Plenty of sunshine as well, a little bit of some cloud cover. Temperatures nice and comfortable in the upper 60s. But by the time we get into our early afternoon hours, we're going to be looking at some more clouds beginning to move in from the southwest. Temperatures, though, are going to be down a few degrees from what they were today, when the upper 70s to lower 80s, and then by the evening hours we're still going to be looking at a mixture of sun clouds and sunshine just before sunset. Nice comfortable temperatures still in the forecast going into the lower 70s, and then by the evening hours we're going to be looking at still more in the way of some mixture of some clouds and some clearing conditions. Temperatures even cooler, already down into the lower 60s just after midnight. Take a look at the Tuesday forecast overall. We got mostly sunny skies, definitely a noticeable drop in that humidity as well. Temperatures of 80 to 85 degrees with some light winds from the north between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Take a look at the allergy index for your Tuesday. We're going to be looking at some medium levels of pollen, 5 out of 12 on that scale, and your top allergens are still remaining the same as they have been over the last couple of days from grass pollen and plantain. Now let's take a look at the beach forecast going into your Tuesday. Beginning with the Atlantic, we got mostly sunny skies, 72 degrees, winds from the north and around 10 miles per hour with seas of 2 to 3 feet. Take a look at the Delaware Bay. We got mostly sunny skies, 74 degrees, winds from the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour with seas of less than 1 foot expected. And then the Chesapeake Bay region, mostly sunny skies, 77 degrees, winds from the northeast at 5 miles per hour, and seas of less than 1 foot expected for the Chesapeake Bay region. Now, as we get into the overnight hours tomorrow night, we're going to be increasing the clouds just a little bit. Going to be some partly cloudy skies overall, but nice, cooler, and comfortable temperatures as well. We'll be dropping things down to the upper 50s and even lower 60s, but the winds are going to pretty much diminish almost completely and be quite light and variable in nature. Now, as we take a look at that extended outlook, we're going to be warming things up for the rest of this week, and we're going to be continuing with this dry weather pattern at least for the next several days. Temperatures going into the late portions of this coming week, getting back into the lower 90s, and we're going to be increasing the humidity as well with partly sunny skies. We're going to continue the 90s into this coming holiday weekend. Starting on Saturday, we're going to be looking at some isolated thunderstorm chances in the afternoon hours with temperatures in the lower 90s. A better chance for precipitation is going to be on Sunday, with the temperatures dropping a few degrees in the mid and upper 80s, and then some more scattered showers in the forecast for the 4th of July and beginning portions of next week with temperatures in the mid 80s.
Thank you, Hunter. Coming up, new technology could detect early signs of stroke or heart attack. The full story when the news continues. Scientists in Australia are developing a small device which can alert patients if they're at an increased risk of a stroke or heart attack by detecting small physical changes in blood from a pinprick test. The aim is to pre-warn patients to avoid what the World Health Organization says are leading causes of death globally. This small device could transform the lives of people at risk of heart attacks and stroke in Australia and around the world, according to the Australian scientist who developed it. One person who could benefit from the technology is 78-year-old Michael Adams. Now, 7 years ago, Adams was sitting at his home in Sydney watching television when he suffered a stroke. Adams endured another stroke in intensive care a few days later, which left him with some physical and mental disabilities. He now wears a pacemaker and is on medication. Adams was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, which means his heart rhythm is very irregular and can cause blood clots in his heart. Researchers at the university's biomedical engineer laboratory says although heart attacks appear to be unpredictable and random, there are often warning signs. And according to scientists here, it's possible to identify tiny changes in the blood that begin to take place long before a stroke or heart attack occurs.
And when the blood goes through this, they're going to clot. And then we're going to measure the clot mechanics, how fast, how quick. And then from this device, we can measure or we can assess the blood clot tendencies for these patient samples.
And this new method sounds inexpensive. And that is a big factor, because obviously medical people are always hesitant about saying, well, let's use this complicated heart machine to check everybody.
This new device that looks carefully into the clotting system of the heart has great potential in identifying those individuals on a day-to-day basis whose risk changes. And so today your clotting may be normal, but perhaps tomorrow it may not be.
They can detect whether the blood flow is distributed, leading to blood clotting and inflammation, which can block blood vessels.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines, committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson, we will be talking about the differences between flood advisories, watches, and warnings. We have 4 different categories for this, so let's begin with flood advisories, which means be aware. A flood advisory is issued when a specific weather event that is forecast to occur may become a nuisance. A flood advisory is issued when flooding is not expected to be bad enough to issue a warning, however, it may cause a significant inconvenience. And if caution is not exercised, it could lead to situations that may threaten life and/or property. Now we have flood watches, which means be prepared. A flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable for a specific hazardous weather event to occur. A flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable for flooding, but it does not mean flooding will occur. But it's a good possibility that the forecast suggests that flooding may be an issue. Then we got flood warnings, which means take action. A flood warning is issued when the hazardous weather event is imminent or already happening. A flood warning is issued when flooding is imminent or is occurring at this time. And then finally we have flash flood warnings, which also means take action. A flash flood warning is issued when a flash flood is imminent or occurring, and if you are in a flood-prone area, move immediately to high ground. A flash flood is a sudden violent flood that can take from minutes to hours to develop, and it's even possible to experience a flash flood in areas not receiving rainfall at all, but just happen to be downstream from a river or a creek.
Time for a final check of the forecast, Hunter. A cooler night in the forecast, but expect a warm-up later in the week.
Yeah, things will begin to cool off once that cold front moves through later on tonight and all those thunderstorm chances are over with. Going into Tuesday, we're going to be looking at some definitely noticeably lower humidity values and a little bit cooler temperatures, but that's going to be relatively short-lived because for the rest of this week, we're going to start cranking up the heat, getting back into the lower 90s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, increasing that humidity, and we're also going to be increasing those rain chances towards this holiday weekend, with some several isolated thunderstorm chances all the way into the 4th of July holiday.
All right, thank you, Hunter, and thank you for tuning in to TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. Hey, don't forget to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and updates throughout the day. I'm Jonathan Mistrot reporting for TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. Have yourself a great evening.